Associate Dean of Academic Programs at the School of Environmental and Biological Sciences. Really excited to welcome you joining us here today on what is, at least here in mid-New Jersey, a really not very pretty day. But we're hoping we're going to use this day and use your time at home to answer all your questions about Rutgers and about School of Environmental and Biological Sciences. Hopefully make it a little bit easier for you if you're making final decisions about where you're going to continue your education in the fall. So with me here and spending the time with you to answer your questions are a number of the deans in our office who are advisors and deans with very different specialties. So I'm going to have them introduce themselves. First, I'm going to mention that I'm also a health professions advisor. So I see general students with interest in all of our majors, but I also work with students who are interested in medical school, dental, or any of the allied health professional options. So I'm going to throw us back to our host, Dean Smith, to tell you a little bit about her.
Thank you so much, Dean Traxler. Good afternoon, everyone. From New Jersey here, Serafina Smith, Assistant Dean of Recruitment and Advising within the School of Environmental and Biological Sciences. Congratulations. This is an exciting time of year, a bit chaotic, and things are uncertain, but we are delighted that you're able to join us today. And we hope that you ask us many questions so that you can feel assured about what Rutgers and the School of Environmental and Biological Sciences has for you. And as Dean Traxler mentioned, here in New Jersey, it is raining, but hopefully this nice weather will allow you to schedule some time for some TLC for yourself and that you're reading a good book. I myself have my favorite tea mug here, think globally, drink locally, and I'm sipping my 3 o'clock tea as I chat with you today. So I look forward to answering many of your questions and getting to know you a little bit more.
All right, let's introduce you to Dean Leanne Pachera.
Hey everyone, welcome. I'm Dean Pachera. I do general advising as well as school advising within Rutgers. Thanks for joining us today.
All right, and finally, Dean Penny Carlson.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to the School of Environmental and Biological Sciences. I'm Penny Carlson. I'm an Assistant Dean at the School of Environmental and Biological Sciences, or SEBS, as we sometimes call it. And I advise a lot of first-year students who are interested in business. And yes, the School of Environmental and Biological Sciences does have a business program.
So the four of us are going to spend some time with you today, but let me get started just telling you a little bit more about us before we launch into your questions. As you know, I hope, the School of Environmental and Biological Sciences is one of the undergraduate schools at Rutgers, New Brunswick. We are a fairly small place and a very, very big Research One university, which is one of the things we think is a huge advantage for you as a student. We are primarily located on the George H. Cook campus. So New Brunswick has 5 campuses, and most of our departments and our main advising offices are on the Cook campus. Although I should mention that if you come to Rutgers and you are living on campus, you can opt to live on any of the campuses in any of the housing options. We have about 3,200 students. Basically, we bring in about 700 new first-year students each year, which again puts us on the small side in terms of being about the size of a small liberal arts institution. We're about a 13-to-1 student to faculty ratio, particularly as you move up into our upper courses for our majors. We have 21 different majors within SEBS. And I have seen a bunch of them on your list. So biology, absolutely. Environmental science, as Dean Carlson said, our environmental and business economics program is a popular business option. And notably, we have our students come in and we have you connected to an advisor right away. So you would each have an assigned advisor right away, which, someone who helped guide you, help you with transition, help you with thinking about those major options. Because I do always like to mention to students that it is perfectly fine to come into us as an undecided student. We recognize that often students coming from high school in particular, but also sometimes from doing a general science degree at, say, a community college, may not quite know where that interest is going to go in terms of their major. You may have multiple interests at Rutgers and just feel like you have a strong interest in a particular general area, but you're not sure if that's going to be a biology major or a microbiology major or an environmental science major. So we want you to feel comfortable coming in, and we're going to link you with an advisor who's going to help you with those kinds of conversations to think about where you're going and what kinds of courses you'll need to take. We're a small campus and a very small community. So we know that that gives you some more personal attention within the very large Rutgers University, and hopefully will give you some connections so that we can help guide you in taking advantage of all of the opportunities that coming into a big Research One institution will afford you. So I'm going to toss it back. Dean Smith is our host, and she's going to get us started on some of your questions. Please make sure that you go to the Q&A, you let us know what kinds of questions are on your mind, or just let us know what kinds of things we can address to help you with your decision making.
Thank you so much, Dean Traxler. So yes, we're going to get started with the Q&A. So please start sending us all of your questions. We already see some questions have already been posed by a few of you, but you can go ahead and start asking us any specific questions that you have. As we move along, I'd like to share the results from our poll. So if any of my colleagues here can just confirm if you're able to see my screen. Okay, perfect. Sorry, I wasn't able to see the head nods. But I would like to share some of the towns and majors of interest from students who weren't able to participate in the poll, but did share some of their answers through the chat box. So I know we have some students from Long Island, from Staten Island, and from Elizabeth, New Jersey, who are interested in biology and environmental sciences. I see there's 2 students that are from India. Hello, I know you're probably very late there, or very early there in India, but we appreciate you taking the time to join us. I see New York, Wantage, New Jersey, Delaware, Hunterdon County, Central New Jersey, that's where we are, so you're dealing with the rain today. Connecticut, Warrentown, Annandale, Robbinsville. So we welcome you all. And then for our majors here, we do see a number of biology students, meteorology, biochemistry, exercise science. We have a representative from the undergraduate admissions office. Welcome. Great to have another colleague on board. Animal science, we see some students interested in supply chain. So as Dean Carlson said, you can learn a little bit about the environmental business economics. If supply chain is of an interest to you, that's through the business school, but you can learn a little bit more about how our students can pursue business within the School of Environmental and Biological Sciences, because we have many of them that work for many corporations through the EBE program. But we see some undecided, which is okay too. I mean, the one thing about Rutgers is you'll have a number of opportunities that will allow you to sample some areas, learn a little bit more about yourself, and develop your skills. So you'll hear all about that today. So it's okay if you do not know what you'd like to do when you grow up. I think many of us are still trying to figure that out because there's just so many endless opportunities and pathways. But know that Rutgers and the School of Environmental and Biological Sciences will give you the right resources to make sure that you're successful in whatever you decide to do. So now we'll move on to the questions that we've been receiving. So Dean Traxler, if you don't mind answering a question from one of our guests, they would like to know if the bio program has a 4+1 track. So if you can answer that question, but also talk to our guest about the 4+1 opportunities available within the School of Environmental and Biological Sciences, I think that'd be very helpful.
Sure, happy to do that. We have a number of accelerated programs. That's usually your 4+1s, or in some cases your 4+3s. Biology has the only accelerated biology program specifically is actually a science business program for students who are interested in doing the biology major and linking it to a master in business administration. I will also mention we have 3 accelerated programs, 2 with medical schools, with Robert Wood Johnson and with New Jersey Medical School, both Rutgers programs, and with the Rutgers Dental School. Those 7-year programs, as well as the bio MBA program, all of them are ones that you apply to in your sophomore year. So none of them are programs that you have to know immediately now or apply to immediately now out of high school or as you start at Rutgers. You will have some time to do some prerequisite courses, meet with advisors, get everything together before you would connect into those programs. A number of our other majors also have 4+1 programs, usually yielding a Bachelor of Science and then a Master's of Science. For instance, our environmental science program, our meteorology program, our food science program, environmental and business economics. So all of these are great programs to help you accelerate a bit so that when you're graduating with an extra year, you're graduating with a master's degree, which is only going to set you up well in the heading toward grad school or heading into the job market.
Thank you so much, Dean Traxler. Since I already have you speaking, if you can answer also the next question. We have some students who have some concerns about AP credits, which
Sure.
a very valid point because the testing, the way the tests are going to be administered has changed this year. So they would like to know if anything is going to be different in how we accept and evaluate AP credits.
Well, luckily, we're not changing our policies for this year. We're still going to accept our APs with scores of 4 or 5 for credit and for equivalence. I should mention our International Baccalaureate students, we're still going to be taking higher level exams with scores of 7, 6, and 5. And A levels, advanced levels, will take higher level exams with scores of A, B, C, and D. The only difference I would say with this year is that it's really just a little more critical for you to talk with your advisors just to make sure that you feel like you've gotten a strong foundation in the area. If you're going to build on it, let's say you've taken the bio AP and you get a 4 or 5 and get credit for bio 1 and 2, you get the full year of general biology through that credit. You just want to make sure that you feel like it's been strong, that you understand that those basics before you move into your next level courses. So I do think the advising conversation is going to be more critical this year, but we're not making any changes to any of our policies that you'll find on the website.
Thank you so much, Dean Traxler. Dean Pashera, maybe I can toss this question to you. So a student also has a question following up on the AP credit, and they're interested in knowing if you can share a little bit more about how the environmental sciences AP credit can be used for ecology, evolution, and natural resources major, since the credit applies for the Intro to Environmental Sciences course.
So we usually will take their AP credits if it's part of the curriculum. So if any of your AP credits that we do post on your Rutgers transcript, we'll accept them as long as you have a 4 or 5 on them. And we'll use them for your curriculum if it's relevant to that. So with EE&R, that's something that we can use for it. That will be credits towards graduation.
Thank you so much, Dean Pashera. Dean Traxler, we have one of our most popular questions here posed by Shervan, and Shervan would like to know, he's interested in going into the pre-med track. What majors can you choose from to go into pre-med?
Yes, that's a popular question, and it's a popular concern for students. The reality is, in terms of medical school, you really can major in any major that you would like to do. You need to do the core sciences, so your biology, chemistry, organic chemistry, physics, statistics, and biochemistry, but you can link those to a lot of majors. And the medical schools are very open to you doing whatever major interests you. So they would like you to be open to doing that exploration and deciding maybe that microbiology is a great plan for you, or landscape architecture. They are very open to options. And again, our advising helps you put those together. Rutgers University has a health professions office where people like me work with students planning out some of those careers in medicine or dentistry. And that office does serve all undergraduates and actually graduate students in New Brunswick. So students at SEBS, students at SAS, at the pharmacy school, or wherever who are planning this. So I do recommend for med school interest that you come in, you start your core sciences, but you do still leave it very open to see what kinds of majors and minors you might be interested in.
Thank you so much. Dean Carlson, if I can have you join us and answer this question. And we've kind of extensively talked a little bit about it because the AP credits and the exams have been a huge concern for our audience. But for those of you who may have missed some of the details that both Dean Traxler and Dean Pashera have previously mentioned, I would like Dean Carlson to just be able to tell our audience what AP bio exam credits score would a student need to receive in order to obtain credits. Dean Carlson, you may be muted.
Okay, so with all AP exams, you will get credit if you receive either a 4 or 5 on the AP exam.
Thank you so much, Dean Carlson. Dean Pashera, I'd like to bring you back. For a student who has been admitted to the School of Environmental and Biological Sciences, and they're very excited and thrilled for this opportunity, but they are interested in learning a little bit more about Cook and Douglas and which of them would be the best place to live in. So I think we can just talk to the students about living on campus and the opportunities available across the institution. So if you can share about that, that'd be great.
So if you're a student at SEBS, you're not required to live just at Cook or at Douglas. You're actually allowed to apply to any housing at Rutgers. That's up to your preference. Some students just go ahead and live where their friends live or where they prefer. So you're not required to live by Cook or Douglas, but usually our upperclassmen end up gravitating towards Cook and Douglas only because they're doing some research within our campus, and it's just a little easier for them to get up, get out, and walk to class. But you're not required to, so you can live anywhere within our campus.
Thank you so much, Dean Pashera. Dean Traxler, so we have a question here from a student asking about the 7-year program and if it's a program that they can apply into now and as an international student.
The accelerated programs are applications at the end of sophomore year or your second year. So it means that a student interested in any of those comes in, they take the same coursework they would be taking with that interest, even if they were going through the standard time frame to apply. So generally that's covering things like biology and chemistry, organic chemistry, physics, math in the first couple of years, and then they apply to the program. The international student question is a good question because I don't think we don't generally get many applications to the accelerated programs from international students. So I'm going to send that student a quick note and follow up with them after this webinar because I don't have an easy answer for that.
Thank you so much, Dean Traxler. So we'll follow up with you on that particular question. So we have another student asking about, we have a number of AP bio exam credits, and I feel like I saw another one. My apologies, I lost the question here. Okay, this is the question. So Siobhan wants to know, will taking AP bio and chem be beneficial this year? And Siobhan, we don't know if you are currently in high school, because if you are taking it, you should have already have been taking it all year long, or maybe you're joining us and you haven't yet applied to Rutgers. So maybe Dean Traxler, you can provide the double perspective of a student currently taking those two classes and how beneficial it can be to maybe take the exam if that's what the student means, or for a student who maybe hasn't applied to Rutgers yet, but has the opportunity of taking these courses in the future, just in case we have both both perspectives or questions.
Sure. With the sciences, it's hard to say whether, it really is an individual question, an individual conversation about whether the exams are going to fully prepare you. So it's one of those things, again, where you're going to need to talk more specifically with an advisor about your background, about how you've done on the AP exams, and about how ready you feel to move on. Sometimes you'll take the credit. So like I said, the biology credit is a full year of biology. The chemistry credit would depend on whether you get a 4 or a 5. Chemistry, score of 4 would give you chemistry 1 credit. A score of 5 would give you chemistry 1 and 2. Often I think students feel like, particularly if they've gotten 5s on the exams, that they really have done well in those courses and they really do have the structure and the foundation to move on. But one of the things that we do sometimes recommend is that you do move on, but maybe not immediately. For instance, in chemistry, if you bring in the full chemistry sequence, I don't recommend organic chemistry in the first semester of college. I think the transition and getting to get used to college level work can be a little bit more than you might expect. And we really don't like adding courses that are that level onto your first semester of college. So I do think it's worth it to take the exam if you haven't yet and you're planning. As long as you feel like you've been able to keep up, go ahead and take the exam. If you found you've been distracted by so much that's going on, or it's gotten hard to do that with online remote learning, then I don't think it's a loss if you don't take the test. Just be prepared to learn more here when you settle into those courses, but I don't think you'll be bored.
Thank you so much, Dean Traxler. So Dean Pashera, can you answer this particular question? So we have a student who wants to know, how do we support and help our students in finding internships and research opportunities at the school?
So there's 2 ways that you can find internships or research opportunities. One of them will be through our SPIN program. It's the Student to Professional Internship Network, and that's if you find an internship on your own that's suitable to your major, you can actually get it verified and approved and receive credits for it. The other way would be going to your major advisor and arranging for research credits with that department. It also has to be verified and approved as well. But those are just two of the ways that you can find internships or research programs at SEBS.
Thank you so much, Dean Bashara. Dean Carlson, I have two questions for you. One is asking regarding Syracuse University Project Advance credits and if those are accepted. So if you can just share a little bit about how transfer credits are evaluated. I know Dean Traxler, I believe you pretty much answered briefly this question on the chat, but if you can share a little bit more, Dean Carlson, about that, that'd be great. And if you can follow up with talking about the EBE 5-year option, we have a student who's interested and would like to learn more.
Okay, so I don't know specifically about the Syracuse project credits, but we generally will accept any credits from a college institution, and as long as you get a C or better in the courses and it's not remedial coursework. So you could email us individually and let us know a little bit more about the program, and we'd be able to give you a better idea of how specifically those courses might transfer, but it sounds like something that you get at least elective credits for it. Okay, the environmental and business economics program, somebody was asking about the 5-year program, which I did answer some information in the chat, and I was also looking and found a link to the program. So SEBS does have a business economics program. We also have students that come into SEBS that are interested in transferring to the Rutgers School of Business. Those students, it works very well for them to come in and, you know, maybe with the idea that they're going to transfer and take some of the courses that are required for the School of Business, because those courses also will fill requirements for our undergraduate program in environmental and business economics. Our undergraduate program is a pretty straightforward business degree. It's an applied degree, so it's a bit more applied than an economics program would be, with applied type courses like management and marketing, and not necessarily just theoretical economics courses, although you'll get some of those too, just like you would in the School of Business. Then we have a 5-year BS and MS program where you would take your first 3 years, you take courses to fill your undergraduate degree and hopefully get as many of them out of the way as possible. And then in your 4th year, you kind of do a crossover where you're taking some courses that are going to go towards your master's program in business and some courses that are still going to continue to fulfill your undergraduate requirements. You apply to the program in your junior year, and then, you know, if you successfully complete everything, hold on just a second while I turn this off. Okay. Oh, it looks like I'm not successfully turning it off. Okay. So, and then if you, okay, I think I'm back. I think I'm going to turn it off. I'm actually referencing, so it's not to say I have my phone on. I'm doing crossover where I'm answering questions for our students that are here too. So we're doing a little bit of everything today. So in your 4th year, you do kind of a crossover. And then in your 5th year, you get your master's program. So instead of doing a master's program in 6 years, you end up being able to do it in 5 years.
Thank you so much, Dean Carlson.
And I will add the link to that.
Oh, yes, please. Thank you. That'd be a great resource to add on the chat. So we appreciate you sharing the answer on the Q&A, but also sharing it with all of our viewers who may have not seen that answer that you posted. It was very extensive, and we appreciate you for it. So Dean Traxler, we have a student who wants to know if our co-ops or research internship opportunities for students in pre-med. So I know Dean Bashara talked a little bit about just research opportunities and internship opportunities across at SEBS, but if you can highlight that these are not much different for our pre-med students, that would be helpful for our audience.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, one of the things that's critical for a student who wants to make a competitive application for a medical school or dental school is work in the field. Now, that can come a variety of ways, and usually we do recommend that you have different touch points in different fields of healthcare. So you've done some volunteer work, you've done some internship, maybe in a doctor's office, you've ridden EMS. So what we like to help you figure out how to put those together. Some of them, like I said, are going to be volunteer. Some of them may be paid internship. So hopefully all of you who are thinking in that direction have already started some of that in high school, and we'll be transitioning over to do some programs at Rutgers. We do have a shadowing program in conjunction with Robert Wood Johnson that our students participate in. Also, we're connected with St. Peter's Medical School, St. Peter's University Hospital, both of which are in New Brunswick. So often our students come in and do various projects and shadowing opportunities at both of those institutions. Beyond that, I do like to mention, obviously, research. It's not required to have research to apply to medical school, but boy, is it important. You do need to show that you've had some time where you've worked in scientific inquiry, you've thought about a problem, you've hypothesized, and then figured out how to test your hypothesis. We do like to have our students get connected to research fairly early, usually starting at the end of their first year. Would be the first opportunities. And there were some questions about honors. We have an honors college and an honors program. Our honors program at SEBS is particularly connected to research, and the students in the honors program are required to do 14 credits of research in their time at SEBS. So we know it's that important to you and hope that you take advantage of that. Honors college students are also connected to research, but they don't have the exact same requirement that we do in the SEBS honors program.
Thank you so much, Dean Traxler. So we have two questions currently being posed by two students, and one of them is asking regarding the best course of action or major that could help a student enroll into vet school, and what is the percentage of SEBS students, undergrads, who enroll in vet school after completing their undergrad. So when it comes to vet school, you can go to vet school with an animal science degree, microbiology, nutrition, biochemistry, molecular biology, biological sciences. So there's a number of majors that can prepare you to continue and pursue that particular career. However, we do have an animal science program, which is very hands-on and allows students to go into 5 different tracks within animal science, whether you're interested in companion animal science, you want to study with lab animals, you want to do equine science, and I'm missing 2, if anyone can jump in and add the last 2 that I'm missing for the animal science track. If not, maybe they can add it. We can add the animal science program link so that you guys have access to see those online. But our program is very competitive, really provides students with the hands-on experience that they need in order to succeed and go on to vet school. We have a number of students that go to Tufts, that go to UPenn, go to schools in Maryland and Virginia, and about 75 to 95% of our most competitive undergraduate applicants go on to accredited vet schools. So what this means is that any given cycle, a student with at least a 3.4 GPA or higher graduating from Rutgers with an animal science degree is being admitted and enrolling into a very competitive vet school in the country. In New Jersey, we do not have a vet school, but our students have no issues or any challenges with getting admitted to vet schools across the country.
I want to be your phone a friend if I can. So the 5 tracks
do.
in animal science, I want to see if I can do it. So we have lab animal, production animal, equine, companion animal, and pre-vet. So 5 different tracks, although certainly students take courses across each of the tracks. So you can be pre-vet, but then to take some coursework in the equine area.
Thank you so much, Dean Traxler. I appreciate your support. And of course, how could I forget pre-vet? That's the most popular track that's available to students that they like to pursue. So the next question that we have from Catherine Flynn is regarding living on campus and being able to travel to and from the Cook campus if you're living on College Ave or Livingston. And I know, Dr. DePichera, that you shared a little bit of that response with our students, but I just want to make sure that everyone who's logging in understands that there is no requirement for you to live on the Cook campus. even if you're a student in the School of Environmental and Biological Sciences, it is more manageable for students to be living in the campus that they're going to be taking a majority of their courses. But when you're a first year student, more than likely you're going to be taking classes across the 5 different campus, the 5 residential campuses that we have. So you can live in any one of those 5 and commute. We have a bus system, bus maps. We have 2 bus apps that can show you exactly what time a bus is coming at a specific time, or even within the hour, so that you can truly plan your day and your schedule accordingly. And again, there's no requirement for you to live in the campus that houses the school that you are enrolled into. Dean Traxler, if you don't mind me phoning a friend one more time, I would like to be able to pull you back in. And if you can talk a bit about biology major and it being a bachelor's of arts and not a bachelor's of science, because we have some students who are asking about that. Very indifferent.
That can be confusing because most of the SEBS majors yield a Bachelor of Science degree. So most of our majors do have a BS degree. Biology has a BA partly because we share it. So we share 3 of our majors in New Brunswick. We share the Biological Sciences major, Public Health, and Exercise Science, which means that a student can go to SEBS or to SAS and complete that same major, same faculty, same requirements, no difference at all. So because of that, we grant the same degree that the School of Arts and Sciences grants for biology. So it's a Bachelor of Arts degree. I always feel the need to help students understand, though, that things like medical programs, they don't distinguish between a BA and a BS degree. They're interested in what you've done. They want to see that your preparation is strong, but they don't actually pay attention to whether you've achieved a Bachelor of Arts or a Bachelor of Science. They want to really see the work that you've done and really what you've done to prepare for medical training.
Thank you so much, Dean Traxler. I know you answered this question on the chat. Regina asked some questions regarding what are the classes that a bio major would have to take, and you mentioned a little bit about the general science core, but if you can elaborate about the rest of your answer to our audience, that would be great for those who also have a similar question.
Absolutely. The bio major is a great general major because it takes your core sciences, but then it adds on top of that the genetics course and 24 credits of electives in very specific areas. So courses in cell bio and neuroscience, in genetics, in ecology and natural resources, and in biochemistry. But what I like about it for students is that you get a lot of choice within those areas. So you do have to do courses within each area, but then you get to choose whether you want to take parasite ecology, or ornithology, or essentials of cell biology. So what it does give you is a little bit more flexibility to take coursework that you know is going to be really interesting to you. Now, again, like I said, the core sciences are going to be the same. So if you come in undecided or thinking in one of those directions, as you're taking those core early courses, that's really where you're going to decide, are you heading toward bio, which is a nice broad program, or do you really feel like you wanted to get much more focused into, say, microbiology or molecular biology or biochemistry? It's going to be the same path right away, so you're not going to find that you're behind coming in and working on your general sciences.
Thank you so much, Dean Traxler. So we have a student asking if they're interested in going into pharmacy, and they would like to know if there are possible courses that they could attend within their first 2 semesters that could relate to pharmaceutical sciences. So Dean Pashera, if I can call on you to maybe talk about our microbiology program and any of the other programs that we have within our school that can help a student go into the pharmaceutical profession, or how they can take certain courses as in their first 2 semesters to then possibly, if it's possible for them to do a school-to-school transfer into the School of Pharmacy.
Right. So if you wanted to transfer into the School of Pharmacy, their curriculum will be different than ours. So we would try to plan out a schedule for you for your first year that would be transferable to the School of Pharmacy. You would have to apply to get into that school, though. But otherwise, if you'd like to stay at SEBS, you could do a major in microbiome, biochem, biotech. That will also give you the background knowledge that you would need if you wanted to pursue possibly higher education in pharmacy.
Thank you so much, Dean Pashera. Dean Traxler, I would like to call upon you to see if you can answer this question regarding the DPT program and where at Rutgers are they offered, if just in Camden or at Rutgers Newark.
There is a DPT program in New Brunswick. It's really small, and generally students start in it right as they come in. But that, so there is an accelerated program going through the exercise science program. Most of the students I've worked with interest in either physical therapy or physician assistant or occupational therapy, speech language pathology, generally those students come in and they do actually the standard degree. So 4 years with a major that's related, could be biology, could be public health, could be psychology, and then they apply to a graduate program after. So the vast majority of our students actually don't accelerate those degrees, although certainly, like I said, there's a new DPT program through exercise science. So I do recommend that you take a look at their website to get a sense of the options in that program, but also know that as with the pharmacy interest, a lot of these things you can come in and start coursework in the core sciences and then find that that sets you up to move into those tracks, either as with pharmacy as an undergrad or into a grad program afterward. I also, if I can jump in, because I know you've been so patient, but there was a question about minors, and that's
I was
one of my
just about to get to that one,
topics.
Deetra.
Yes.
I was just about to jump on that one.
So SEBS students are required to have a major in our program, but beyond that, we really encourage you to do more than that. And that means you can take a major, you can take a second major or a minor across New Brunswick. So what's nice, and I think the question was about keeping up a language. So if you want to keep up your Spanish and you know that that's something that's really meaningful, Spanish minor is absolutely a great option with any of the majors at SEBS. Had students do dance minors, psychology minors, we have a great sustainability minor. So even though we don't require these programs, we really do know that they're going to be a great asset to your education and an asset when you're going out either on the job market or to graduate school. And again, advising is going to be how you recognize those options. When you meet with your advisor, we'll talk with you about both opportunities, what minors exist out there, what certificates exist that might help you think about where you're going, and then how to start incorporating those classes into your courses.
So much, Dean Traxler. You literally went right into my next question. So that was a really great segue. And I love how Lizzie put it together. She wants to maintain her Espanol, which is great to see a student want to continue their education and maintain their language. So I would like to actually, Dean Traxler, call upon you again. If you can talk about the percentage of students at SEBS who apply to med school, and I can actually go ahead and pull a slide that you shared in a previous webinar where you had your med school stats to support you as you begin. So if as you start answering the question, I'll go ahead and start pulling that PowerPoint.
That sounds good. I appreciate that. Talking about med school and dental school admissions rates, there's a number of different numbers we use. And I do like to be clear that when we use numbers, they're not only SEBS students, they're all students in New Brunswick. So we don't distinguish among the schools because, again, the medical schools don't distinguish among the schools. They look at each candidate individually and look at what their coursework has looked like. MCATs, DATs, all of the pieces that combine into your candidacy. What you will find, we often represent two different numbers, particularly for medical schools. We represent a number of all students who apply, which means those students may not be competitive. They may have some issues with their applications. Great, there's our slide. So you'll see in the left-hand graphic, and all of this is available on the Health Professions Office site. So if you go to HPO for Health Professions Office.rutgers.edu, you'll be able to pull up admission stats for a number of years back. But what you'll see is that among all candidates, 487 applicants, 246 matriculated. So that gives us about a 51% acceptance rate. Across nationally, that is a little bit higher. You're going to find national numbers in that same cohort is about 42% acceptance rate. The next two areas, though, you're going to see where we would put our competitive applicants. So students with a 3.5 to a 4.0 GPA, with a strong MCAT in the 512 range or so, you're going to find there that we have between a 66% acceptance rate and a 74-75% acceptance rate, which is again higher than the national average with those same stats. Similarly, on the right-hand side, you'll see our 2019 dental school admission stats. So your total applicant was about 72% acceptance rate, but the very, very impressive stat when you look at admission stats for students who are in the top tier, 3.5 to 4.0, you've got a 94% acceptance rate. And that really is to schools across the country. Certainly a good number of our students go to the Rutgers schools, but we do have students go across the country, California, Colorado, Iowa, but certainly up and down the East Coast where our students are often much more likely to apply. So again, you'd be able to take a look at more of this in detail at the hpo.rutgers.edu site.
Thank you so much, Dean Traxler. Dean Pichera, I know you answered these questions on the chat, but I know we've been getting a few questions about it, so I would like for you to just restate them and elaborate a little bit further regarding possibly taking some of the certificate programs and how heavy of a course load, like taking certificate programs within Rutgers and the School of Environmental and Biological Sciences would be. And can you also talk about, I'm so sorry, can you also talk about double majoring? Because we also have a student who is now interested in a few majors at CBS, and they want to know the process for declaring your major. And I think if we can just add the process of possibly double major or the opportunities of double majoring, that could help our audience to understand the opportunities available to them. Thank you.
Right. Yeah. So during your first semester as a first year student at SEBS, you're actually undeclared. So that's not really something that you have to worry about right now. We just want you to do well in your classes during your first semester, just so you can lay the foundations. And then your second semester in your freshman year, you'll be able to declare your major and your minors and your certificates. So at SEBS, we do not require a minor, but if you would like to take up a minor, you're welcome to do so. Certificates and minors are about the same in credit loads. It depends really on the program that you're looking for. Sometimes it could be as low as maybe 12 credits, and sometimes it could be as high as 18 credits. So they are manageable in, including those in your schedules. For the majors, as long as your first major is at SEBS, you are allowed to take up a second or a double major in another school's program, given that you have received acceptance into that program. Some are, require more advising and more courses. So if you're going to double major, then you really need to meet with your advisors to make sure that you're meeting your academic goals within the timeline that you put on yourself. So again, during your first semester, you're actually coming in as undeclared. You can tell us what your intended major is, just so we can match you with the proper advisor. And then your second semester at your freshman year, you will declare your majors, your minors, your certificates in an online system. So that will, you can go ahead and discuss any of your majors and minors. That gives you a little bit of time to be able to kind of figure out which direction you want to go to.
Thank you so much, Dean Pichera. Dean Traxler, can you talk a little bit about study abroad opportunities for bio majors?
Sure. Study abroad is a great option for any major, although I will say that a good number of our career science students, particularly thinking about pre-med, do find that it's easier to do some of the summer programs. So I don't want to dissuade you from doing Valencia, Spain in the spring, but if it's easier in your time frame, there are some really great programs in summer, which tend to be 6 weeks across the summer. My absolute favorite is the microbiology wine and cheese program in France. You may need to, you may need to be 21 to really enjoy that one, but we have a good number of really good options. For students who are thinking about vet school, we have a program in Belize over the summer where you actually can work with animals and you actually do a lot of hands-on work that's really going to help you know that vet programs are for you. So again, if you have an interest in study abroad, or actually if you haven't even thought about study abroad, make sure that that's part of the conversation you're having with advisors early so that we can help you prepare for and plan around your schedule so that we can put a program like that in place.
Thank you so much, Dean Traxler. Dean Carlson, can you join us and tell our students a little bit about what the Academic Planning and Advising Day is and how students get in touch with their advisors and learn about the courses that they will be registering for to select their schedule for the fall semester?
So right now, our academic planning days are a little bit in a state of flux because normally we do actually have you come in and meet with your advisor and select your classes. So we're still kind of working out how we're going to do things. I think we will have days when you'll be able to come in and meet with your advisors in a similar way to how you're meeting with us right now, and maybe have a little bit of opportunity to discuss programs with your advisors individually. I think we're going to do a little bit more of help pre-planning actually for you, so coming up with schedules for you, and then have you take a look. And of course, you will be able to make changes to those schedules. A schedule that's done over the summer, so if you can't get in and talk to an advisor, don't panic. It's just a preliminary schedule. You can make changes to your schedule when you come in during the fall. Hopefully by then things will be back to normal. We're all kind of crossing our fingers that it will be, and that everything will be working out, and you'll be able to meet with your academic advisor, and you would always be able to make changes to your schedule at that time. The first week of classes, and then a little bit beyond that, you can drop and add courses, and the original course that you drop disappears from your schedule, and then any new courses go in on your schedule, and professors know that the drop add period goes through the first week, and they'll work with you.
Thank you so much, Dean Carlson. And I'd just like to add that if any of you have not yet accepted your offer of admissions, you're not going to have access to register for your academic planning and advising day. This is something that we will be sending out to students who have already accepted their offer of admissions, and students have until May 1, which is the reply date, to inform our university of their intentions to either accept or decline the offer. So once you've accepted your offer of admissions and you've paid your $150 enrollment fee, that's when you will then have access to a page called My Rutgers Dashboard. Through this page, you'll have a sort of a checklist, and you'll have clear outlines of what exactly you need to do in order to complete your process of enrollment. There's where you can find the housing application, any immunization records that you need to complete, registering for your placement exam, and also registering for the academic planning and advising day, as a number of other resources that can connect you to many of our departments across the university to help you to move you towards the start date in the fall when we begin the semester. Dean Traxler, I know you answered this question online, but I know it's another question that we often get from our student guests, especially those who can be a little overwhelmed with the large size of Rutgers University, New Brunswick. And I think you did a really great job at re-emphasizing that the School of Environmental and Biological Sciences is a small, close-knit community, and we have a little over 3,200 students. But can you talk about the class sizes that a first-year student will experience when they are on campus?
Sure, and it varies greatly, and it's good for students to understand that they're going to have very, very different options. And so the biggest class you're going to have in some of our biggest intros, like our general psychology, the highest number you'll get there is about 400 people in a lecture hall. General biology will likely be taught in that way. You get a little smaller when you get into some of our maths, 150 students in a class. But then a good number of your courses, like your writing course, is 22 students. The seminars, like our FIG seminars or our Burn seminars, which are small seminars taught for first-year students, are generally 15 to 20 students. So you are going to find that your classes really vary in your first year. One of the things that we do to help mitigate some of those bigger classes, so you don't feel like you're just a number, is that most of them will have an additional class meeting, which we call a recitation or a workshop, where you'll work in a smaller group, usually with a teaching assistant, to go through problems, to have a discussion, so that you may be in a large lecture in 2 of the classes, but then you'll also have an additional time where you'll go through and do some quizzes and problem solving, and times where you are going to get more high contact with the faculty member. So you're going to find a wide variety of course sizes. And again, advisors are going to work with you to understand what your options are and make sure that you're in a number of smaller opportunities so that you are getting to know our faculty, you are getting to connect in with other students in the classroom very much from your first semester.
Thank you so much, Dean Traxler. Dean Bashara, I know you answered this question as well on the chat, but if you can elaborate a little bit on the possibilities a student has if they would like to continue their interest in art, and how a student can minor in that subject, and also maybe talk a little bit about the LA program, the landscape architecture program, just because we do know that we have a lot of artistic students there. So I'm not too familiar with Brianna's academic interest, but maybe that could be an opportunity for her if she is undecided.
Yeah, so if you are interested in art, you can go ahead and minor in some kind of art program. We also have the core curriculum where you could take a couple of courses that will count towards that curriculum, which will count towards your graduation. If you want it to be just some kind of fun program that you wanted to do, you can go ahead and minor. Otherwise, we do have the landscape architecture program, which is pretty artsy for a science degree. Part of that is like visual drawing, also bringing in some of living things into your design. So that's one of the things that you can do at SEBS. But otherwise, if you just wanted to explore what's out there, you may have to create a portfolio for Mason Gross if you wanted to go as far as double majoring. But that's very, pretty flexible. So we can guide you in your decision in that. Otherwise, if you, want to be able to take just one art class for your first semester to feel it out, we'll be able to help you select one for your arts and humanities requirement for your core curriculum here at SEBS.
Great, thank you so much, Dean Bashara. And I see some students asking regarding if committing to Rutgers and if the May 1 deadline has changed. So far, we have not. The Office of Admissions continuously has the May 1 deadline as the acceptance date. If anything changes, we will make sure students know. But at this moment, we are still keeping the May 1 deadline as the acceptance date. And I know another student asked a question about accepting the offer to Rutgers and having to notify other schools. And Dean Traxler, thank you so much for answering that question. But I just wanted to provide a little more information just to make sure that we answered the question in full. If you apply to Rutgers and you apply to multiple schools within Rutgers and you accept your offer to the School of Environmental and Biological Sciences, for example, you do not have to notify the other schools within the Rutgers University system that you have accepted an offer to our school, because the system automatically will mark you as admitted coming to our school, and all the other schools will be notified that you are not accepting their offer. But again, remember that if you have interest in other majors or minors outside of the School of Environmental and Biological Sciences, there may be opportunities for you to do that. But myself and the rest of the deans at the School of Environmental and Biological Sciences can talk to you about those opportunities for double majoring or minoring outside of a discipline within our school. If you have accepted your offer to Rutgers University, New Brunswick School of Environmental and Biological Sciences, or any of the other schools that you've applied into within the Rutgers system, you should notify other institutions outside of Rutgers that you're no longer accepting their offers, just so that you can give them that courtesy if they have awarded you some sort of scholarship, or if they're holding, or if they've extended their acceptance date and are still holding your seat, just so that they can provide that to another student. So hopefully that answers the question from our guest. And finally, I see some students asking about a parking pass. So Dean Carlson, can you answer our student who is a transfer and would like to know if they will require a parking pass to commute to campus?
I think I'll throw that question over to Dean Traxler.
Well, students who are commuting and come in by car will need to sign up for a parking pass, but that doesn't open until the first week in August. So at this point, it's early to worry about that. We do have a good number of students who commute to campus either via public transportation or by car. Our on-campus residential students can also sign up to have a car on campus if they'd like. They also would similarly sign up for that parking pass at the beginning of August. I will mention that if you are going to park a car on campus, you do need a parking pass because our parking enforcement people will give you tickets. So if you are planning to bring your car to campus, do recognize that you'll park on one campus and likely take our buses to classes on different campuses. We're a really intricate place and there is not a lot of parking on a couple of our campuses. So again, you'll want to take a look and there'll be information on your Rutgers Dashboard if you commit to us that has links to the parking options. But do make sure that you stay on the side of the angels and sign up for your parking pass if you're driving to campus.
So much, Dean Traxler. That was very well said. And I know we had a student who was asking earlier about possibly going into marine sciences and the environmental policy institutions and behaviors program. And in terms of job outcomes, which of the two would lead to better outcomes and more opportunities? And to be honest, that is a difficult question to answer because both programs are vastly different and there are really a number of pathways that you can go into with each particular program. But I do want to mention that there is a possibility to double major within marine sciences and EPIB, the environmental policy institutions and behavior, or to even do a minor. If you choose to go with an EPIB major, you could do a marine sciences minor or vice versa. So in terms of career pathways and options, really, you can make really great and lucrative careers with each program. It just depends what you may be interested in. Each of the programs could lead you to a career where you're out in the field, can lead you into research. With EPIB, you can really go into policy. They also have a minor in sustainability. When environmental sciences, it's different because of just the subject matter. You're going to be focused heavily on studying aquaculture, conducting research. I mean, our students go to Antarctica and they're releasing gliders into the oceans and studying so many different things in our climate and our oceans that are affecting our world today. But there is a way to definitely combine both that can better prepare you for your future careers. And I encourage you and urge you, if you're interested in both, I can connect with you further offline about these opportunities and also connect you to the faculty because they are truly amazing. And I think that we would be remiss to not mention to you how the School of Environmental and Biological Sciences has a number of program directors and faculty who are just always eager and willing to talk to students about career pathways, opportunities, majors, and they even themselves connect you to different internships and even research so that you tag along on their team and be a part of their research projects. So we can connect you to the faculty in those two respective programs so that you can learn a little bit more, and even to some of our students who can share their experiences, and it can hopefully help to solidify maybe which option may be best for you. And I believe we had one final question that I wanted to make sure we got to. And it was regarding the SEBS Honors Program. And Dean Traxler, I know you provided Ms. Geiger's email, which again is geiger@sebs.rutgers.edu, and it's right on the chat. If you are interested in learning about how to get into the SEBS Honors Program, just know that those decisions have been made. But if you're interested in learning whether there may be opportunities for you to still be considered, you'll have to reach out to the Office of Admissions, and you can also speak to the representatives from the SEBS Honors Program to talk to them a little bit further about that. And I just wanted to also give a shout out to one of the students who sent a really lovely message. Regina, we really appreciate you for telling us that today's session was very informative and that it helped to reassure you and made you more excited to attend college. And ultimately, that is truly our goal, is to just answer questions, assist you all. We know that these times are definitely challenging and difficult for you and for us because we're not able to meet you. But hopefully, I'm appreciative that you shared that message, but I hope everyone else shares the same sentiment. Dean Traxler, I pass it along to you to close us out and provide some last minute words for our audience.
Oh, absolutely. Well, it's been a pleasure to spend the afternoon or some time of it with you all today. I hope we've been useful in your thinking about this. We're always happy to have you follow back up with us. I always feel the need to leave you with the thought just that I've done this a long time, and I do feel like the best place, the best plan for you is to find the place that fits, that really looks like it's going to give you what you need to create an amazing education, to have access to all of the different things that you're interested in, and maybe some things that you haven't yet figured out you're going to be interested in, and that will support you and really help you with your growth over the next 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, however many in terms of the credits you're bringing in. We hope that'll be us at School of Environmental and Biological Sciences in Rutgers, because we know that we have amazing students and an amazing community, and we hope you'll be part of it. But you'll see on the slide, connect with us through social media, through email. Let us know what we can do to help you understand your options. And we wish you the best. It is a very busy time of life right now for you. There's lots of great stuff ahead, and we hope that you get all of the answers you need to make a great decision and that you're excited. So thank you, Dean Smith, for being our host, and to Deans Bechara and Carlson for helping out and making sure that you got great answers. And we hope to see you all on campus in the fall.
Thank you, everybody. And follow us on Instagram. We have a lot of student stories, and you can see what day in the life looks like for our students who were on campus last fall. Thank you again. Take care. Enjoy your day and your week.